I was born to be an accountant. There's no question whatsoever. My family lived in a very nice house in a very nice suburb, and we went to very nice schools. However, we were what's called house poor, which means that my parents spent all their money on the house payment, and there wasn't really much left for food or clothing or anything you might want. I believe this probably influenced me to care more about money than I probably really should have when I grew up. But I decided, even though I also lived in a nice house in a nice suburb and sent my kids to good schools, that they would have enough to eat and enough to have clothing. I would rather have lived in a less expensive house to make sure my children had what they wanted. But I believe this influenced me to become an accountant when I went to college. And what you have in front of you is the basic tools of an accountant. And I would like you to consider these tools because they're very important. Most people don't even think of them. They're so simple. The first one is a balance sheet. What is a balance sheet? Bill's sitting here smiling because he knows what a balance sheet is because he's the chief financial officer of his company. A balance sheet is a list of everything you have. So if you look at the left-hand column, you'll see assets. Okay? And what, at some point, not right now because that would make my speech go to 15 or 20 minutes, I'd like you to write down every single thing that you own and what you could sell it for today. Okay? So you have a house that's $250,000. Today you could sell it for maybe $300,000. This is good. So would you would write down house, $300,000. Car, $12,000. Clothing, $45. Anything you have, furniture probably, but put down garage sale prices. Okay, now, where did you get that from? Who do you owe it to? On that $250,000, now $300,000 house, you still owe $228,000. That's your liability. So on the right-hand column, you would write down everybody you owe any money to whatsoever, and that includes your credit cards, by the way. And what's left over, once you add up all your assets, you've come up with about $320,000. And your liabilities, $280,000, you're worth $40,000. That's kind of nice, you have equity. Now the second statement, but before we go to the second statement, I want to stop and pause a moment, just say, that's where you are at this moment in time. If your house burns down tomorrow and the insurance company only pays you what you owe on it, you just lost your equity, guys. This is not good. Okay, so, but it's where you are right now, and so you will see the date there of June 30th, 2015, because in July, by July 30th of 2015, this probably will have changed. Now, how does the balance sheet change besides wonderful events like the market for housing goes up or something like that? It changes because of your income or loss for the most part. So your income, let's just say for the first 6 months of the year, you earned $30,000. That was from your wages. And let's just say you were smart and had investments and you earned another $10,000 from investments. So your income, the year to date so far, $40,000. Unfortunately, you spent it all. So year to date, you add up all your expenses, that's on the right-hand side, you add up all your expenses, you spent $42,000. Oh my gosh, house payments, clothing, car, gas, food, trip to Paraguay, you know, whatever you did. Okay, so now you've got a net loss down there where it says net income. Oh dear, you didn't have an income, you had a loss. So for this 6-month period, you lost actually $2,000. So when you go fix your balance sheet next month, you're going to see that your assets are probably a little bit lower because you're going to have another $2,000 in credit cards to have to pay off, right? Okay, all right, you all know that. So you've got income and you've got, which is very fluid. Every time you get a paycheck, your income changes. Every time you go by McDonald's and get a McDouble cheeseburger, your expenses increase. So your net income or loss changes. Now, there's a third statement that I don't really care much for, but you have to do it if you're an accountant, and it's called your statement of cash flow, and I'm not even gonna talk about it because I don't care about it. Do you use that one much?
No.
No, it's just, basically it says how much cash you had at the beginning of the year, how it got bigger or how it got smaller, and how much you have left at the end of the year. I don't think that one's terribly useful. Now, where does Ziggy come in? I lived my life very much on the concept of Ziggy. I saw a cartoon, probably in the late 1970s, and here's Ziggy. Has anyone ever seen the cartoon Ziggy? It's a cute little guy. He's just a little plump little pudgelet, and he's holding up a flag most of the time and does a lot of interesting things. I almost got kicked out of Franchise Tax Board because of one of the things that he held up. Emmanuel went, "How dare you show that at FTV?" But Ziggy said whatever was on his mind. And in this particular case, he's walking around Washington and he's looking at the big buildings and he's going, $1 billion here, $1 trillion there, $500 million here, $30 million there. At the end he says, maybe sometimes the thing that counts the most are the things that can't be counted at all. And so I'd like you to take another look at your balance sheet. What do you have? You have your health. You have your family. You have your friends. You have a good job. You have a spiritual foundation for your life. You have so many things. Where did you get them from? These are your liabilities. You got them from your parents. You got them from your friends. You got them from your church. You got them from who knows where, but you got them. And what you have left is your life. I don't really care where you were in history. The history of where you are is reflected on your balance sheet. It's what you have, you know. But what you really have now is you have the present. And you have the choice of what to do with the real assets, the real liabilities, by increasing the things that make you happy, which is your income on your income statement, getting rid of the things that make you sad, and what you're left with is your equity in yourself, your retained values for yourself. And so I'm challenging you to don't let that childhood with not enough food hold you back. You're here now. This is what you have. What you have is the present.